who grew up in the 60s remember the most successful singing American group was the Supremes. Well, we're honored today. We don't have the Supremes, but we have something, for our purposes, even better. Three women artists who have graced the walls here at the Studio 620. Happy to call them friends, and to say that we own some of their work personally. I give you Babs Reingold, Neverne with an N Covington, and Carol Dameron. Tell me, I'll start with you, Neverne, and I'll ask all of you the same question. Why do you do the art that you do?
It's the only thing I can do. I've drawn since I was 3 years old, and it's always been the most exciting thing I've ever done, and I've never found anything more exciting. I'd never, there was never a question, what are you going to do when you grow up? I always knew. So it nourishes my heart and soul.
Oh, good. So this art that you do, it's an old friend. You've been doing it since you were in your teens.
3 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
My mother has things from 3 years old.
From 3 years old? Oh, I'd like to see one of those one day.
Mermaids, actually, they were then.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Fantastic. How about you, Carol?
Well, it's very similar to Neverne. I was born that way. I'm born this way. I don't know if I would call it a friend. I would just say that this is exactly who I am. And I've been drawing all of my life, and my mother gave me all the materials as a child. I went to Europe and got my training later on, and it's just exactly who I am. I think if I stopped doing it, I would just lean over and die.
And I would add that all children love to draw. I just never stopped.
Right.
It's natural.
That's right.
For
There's a
children
metaphor
to
there.
love to draw.
All children love to draw. One, we can either stay all children, or all bigger children should continue to draw. Babs, how about you?
I think that you can't not do it. That's how I make art. I mean, I don't know how to not do this. So I guess it's sort of the same answer that Neverne gave, and you continue to do it. You can't figure out how to stop doing it. It's a bad habit in some ways, and it's a good habit. It's what you are. It's
That's
who you
fantastic. Then I have another question, and I think, in the interest of fairness, to ask you all the same question. And now I'll start with you, Babs. Why St. Pete?
Interesting question, Bob. It actually began with my husband. He wanted to live someplace south, and St. Pete is it's a wonderful area. It's got great climate. It's a beautiful city. It has a historic district. It has an arts community that's coming up. There's things happening here. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with St. Petersburg 10 years from now. You're here. 620 is here. We have very good friends that were here, and we've been visiting St. Petersburg since, what was it,
96, 94.
I even think even earlier, because we have two sets of very good friends in common. Began with Laura Bryant and Matt. And
Another artist.
Yes, another artist, and Neverne and Don. And so I like St. Petersburg. I also still have my property up in New Jersey outside of Manhattan because I can't part with New York.
Oh, I know. And New Jersey always is outside of Manhattan.
Yes, it is.
And that's where I met you, in New York.
Yes, exactly. That's where we first met.
In New Jersey, outside of Manhattan,
No.
or somewhere else?
Actually, in New York City.
Uh-huh.
And then Neverne came to my studio in Hoboken. That time I had my space there.
But now you're in Bayonne.
I'm in Bayonne. Still, as I call it, spitting distance to Manhattan. That's the point of being there. And as a matter of fact, I still show up in that area, and had a great show here at Studio at 620.
That's fantastic. Okay, Carol, why St. Petersburg?
Well, St. Pete is really easy for me. I'm a Southerner, so I really enjoyed living in the South, and I grew up here, was gone for a while, and my family's here. It's just very easy to live here, and my personal reason is the landscape, because it's so gorgeous. And I would say the landscape is inside of me. And it shows up in my paintings because I do figure and landscape. So that's, I've traveled a lot around the world, and for my choice, I think the Florida landscape is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
No place like home.
There's no place like Florida, yeah.
Well, good. Neverne, why St. Pete?
Well, like Carol, I have a great love for the landscape also, and the diversity of the landscape. You know, we're surrounded by water, not just on 3 sides, but on 5, with having the largest underground river in the world, the Hawthorne Meridian Aquifer, and the precipitation. And I mean, it's an amazing, Florida's an amazing state. It's the only place that has that latitude that's not a desert around the world. Some other specific reasons, I've had studio space downtown within 2 or 3 blocks from here for 14 or 15 years. And although the spaces are getting smaller and the rents larger, it's still, I love working at downtown. I'm not a person that works out of my home or enjoys working out of my home. I need the separation. But a bigger reason, I guess, is I feel really supported by the arts community here, by people like Babs and Carol and you and Jim in the studio at 620, by the other artists here. I mean, I feel like when one of us has something great happening, the others really celebrate that. I don't feel a competitive, I don't know, nudge. I just feel really embraced by the artistic community here, and that's a big plus.
And that's pretty fantastic. I mean, you know, within a 6, 7, 8 block radius, we have the Holocaust Museum, we have the Florida Craftsman, we have the Arts Center, we have the Fine Arts Museum, the History Museum, several galleries. A few more blocks, you get the Dali. Some really great restaurants have cropped up, some gallery framing shops.
It's growing, for sure, and the
pretty
arts
soon,
is growing.
You know, it feels like the Upper East Side or Wilshire Boulevard.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Yeah, you need H&H Bagels, and that's actually on the Upper West Side, but that's a whole other story.